Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine you have a master guide, right? Someone who's dedicated their whole life to deciphering the market's secret language. A real seasoned veteran who can spot those subtle shifts and tell you not just what they mean, but, why they matter. And crucially, what's likely to come next. Today, we're taking a deep dive into an incredibly detailed report on SoundHound AI, ticker symbol SOUN. This is a company that's really at the forefront of voice artificial intelligence. And look, this isn't just your basic earnings call summary, okay? This report comes directly from top trader JinLog, who's known for this almost uncanny ability to navigate complex market rhythms. It's genuinely like getting a backstage pass to how a top, 0.1% trader approaches a dynamic asset, understanding not just the data, but like the underlying pulse of the market itself.
It's absolutely fascinating. And what's really key here is the lens JinLog uses for this analysis. It's called the VPAR rhythm trading method. Now, this isn't just another set of indicators you slap on a chart. No, it's a whole framework, really, designed specifically to, cut through the daily deluge of news and noise and all those emotional distractions that, frankly, can just eat away at your capital. JinLog points this out a lot, how that constant barrage can lead to excessive impulsive trading. Think about it, right? Every headline, every little blip on the screen, it triggers an emotional reaction, often leads to hurried, sometimes regrettable decisions.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Information overload is real.
Exactly. So VPIR instead focuses on capturing the overall dominant market flow. Think of it like the larger currents in the ocean. And then with almost surgical precision, it zeroes in on what JinLog calls these crucial high probability support and resistance zones. These are the points where the core news, the fundamental events, actually align with the price action. It's about precision, strategic timing, not just, frantic activity.
So it's about finding those specific points where things really line up.
Precisely. The core insight here, really for any trader or investor, whatever their strategy, is the discipline it takes to filter out all that noise, that cacophony, and identify these true key points where the market kind of reveals its intentions. So this VPAR approach, it aims to help manage risk proactively, but still seek high returns. And that's what we're going to apply directly to SoundHound AI today. We're going to dissect its potential through this, honestly, unique and powerful lens. Our mission for you, the listener, isn't just to understand SOUN's current status and where it might be heading, but maybe more importantly, how such a sophisticated trading strategy approaches an asset like this, emphasizing, meticulous risk management and the intelligent pursuit of high probability returns.
Okay, so with that incredible framework in mind, what does this actually mean for SoundHound AI right now? JinLog's report puts SOUN currently trading at $12.27, and it's been kind of dancing within a pretty clear defined range, $10 to $13. He calls it a box range. But there's a much bigger question here, isn't there? Is it about to break out of this range? And I guess, how does JinLog's method help us spot the signals, the conditions for that kind of move? It sounds like his whole system is built around answering exactly these kinds of critical, forward-looking questions.
Exactly right. And that $10 to $13 box range, it isn't just some random area on the chart or, a simple visual boundary. For JinLog using VPR, it represents a really significant consolidation phase. Think of it as a period of intense internal negotiation where supply and demand are battling it out, basically trying to determine the market's next major directional move. It's a critical testing ground, a crucible where market conviction is being forged.
Right, okay. So here's where it gets really interesting, and I think it highlights JinLog's unique perspective. This $10, $13 box range for SOUM. It isn't just a random fluctuation or some temporary pause, is it? It's, like you said, a critical testing ground, a zone of intense struggle. JinLog emphasizes its importance not just as a visual boundary, but as this deeply dynamic area of price discovery. It reveals the market's true intentions.
Absolutely. And that $10 level specifically is acting as a really strong pivot. It's what JinLog calls a swing saw, which, translates best to a swing key point.
Yeah.
Imagine it as the market's psychological battle line for this particular time frame. Now, it's repeated reconfirmation, meaning the prices dipped to or near $10 multiple times and then bounced back. That shows remarkable resilience, deep-seated buying interest right there at the lower end of this $10 to $13 range.
So buyers keep stepping in around $10.
That's what it signifies, yeah. Whenever a SOU dips to that level, strong demand consistently enters the market. It absorbs the selling pressure, prevents a deeper fall, and the longer it holds, the stronger that support becomes. It's like coiling energy for a potential breakout later. Now, the report highlights something really important. If SOU can achieve what JinLog calls midterm settlement in the 9-10 month period, September-October timeframe, we could see a monumental shift. And midterm settlement here means the price isn't just stabilizing, but is showing clear signs of like sustained institutional accumulation. Significantly reduced volatility within its midterm price range, which JinLog flags around $7.5 to $8.2.
Okay, so settlement isn't just price holding, it's about how it holds. Less noise, maybe big players stepping in.
It's exactly. Less noise, more conviction. If that happens, it's not just about the price moving up a few points. It's about the underlying market rhythm fundamentally transitioning. It could lead to what JinLog calls swing raise agrees, a broader, more significant expansion in price movement. A forceful breakthrough from this current box. Think of it like a coiled spring, right? The longer it consolidates within this box, the more potential energy it builds for a powerful directional move once that energy is released. The reconfirmation of the $10 level suggests there's robust commitment from buyers there, setting the stage for an eventual push higher.
Okay, so this VPAR method, it's not just about identifying where the price is, but it's really a forward-looking system. Helps anticipate where it's going and maybe crucially how it's going to get there. Seems very structured, very disciplined. Segmenting strategies across different time horizons. Let's really break down JinLog's specific investment opinions. The target prices for short-term, swing, and midterm. Let's start with the short-term view. JinLog's eyeing that $10.76 mark for entry. Why that specific number seems incredibly precise, especially in, volatile markets.
It is incredibly precise, yes, but it's not a random guess. It's identified as a Tuyakon point, which basically means a high probability rebound opportunity after a temporary dip. This specific number, 10.76, it's directly linked to the short-term line's lower band within JinLog's own proprietary VPR indicators. This short-term line isn't just, say, a simple moving average, it's a dynamically calculated indicator. Filters out minor fluctuations to reveal the immediate momentum.
Okay, so 10.76 isn't just a price, it's a technical confluence point based on his specific indicator.
Exactly, it's where the short-term trend is expected to find support and potentially reverse. But, this is key, the precision doesn't end there. It's not just about the price hitting that number. You need to see specific confirming signals happening at the same time. We're looking for a clear candle reversal pattern on the chart, something indicating a definitive shift in momentum from selling pressure back to buying pressure. And crucially, this has to be accompanied by a volume rebound. Shows that this renewed buying interest is actually backed by significant market participation.
Volume confirmation, got it.
These are critical validations. They confirm the short-term thesis. Now, for liquidation, or taking partial profit, the target of $14 is significant. Why? Because it's near the identified short-term resistance level. This partial liquidation strategy, it's a hallmark of JinLog's risk management. Allows traders to de-risk, lock in some initial profits, but still leaves room for potential further upside if the underlying rhythm continues to confirm that upward trajectory. It's dynamic, adaptive, always prioritizing capital preservation.
That makes perfect sense. Precision and confirmation. So, building on that, let's extend our view a bit. The swing strategy. That $10 mark seems to be a real linchpin, doesn't it? It's mentioned as the core entry, but also a critical reconfirmation level. What makes it so pivotal for a swing trade?
Absolutely. For the swing time frame, $10 is, well, it's the undeniable core swing trade, the absolute pivotal point. This strategy is about riding a larger wave, right? Multi-day or multi-week within the broader trading range, aiming for a more substantial move than just a quick day trade. JinLog recommends what he calls fractional buying near $10, with a small deviation plus or minus $0.3. This fractional buying, it's a key risk management technique.
Buying in pieces, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Allows you to average into a position, mitigates the risk of trying to nail a perfect single entry price, which, let's be honest, is rarely possible in volatile markets. Also lets you deploy capital gradually. Now, if the price breaks down significantly below that level, the disciplined advice is clear. Await re-entry, don't chase a falling knife, preserve your capital for higher probability setups later. The $17 target represents the upper boundary of this swing potential. It's a significant resistance level where taking profits is advised, because it represents a key psychological and technical barrier.
And the stop loss.
Very clearly defined, $9.6. For 2 consecutive days. If the closing price stays below 9.6 for 2 full trading days, it signals what JinLog calls a swing downing. Essentially, it invalidates the current swing thesis. That prompts a complete reevaluation of the strategy. Helps protect capital from larger unexpected losses by acknowledging when the market has clearly shifted against your initial idea.
Okay, very clear rules there. So extending our gaze even further now, if you're looking at the long game or maybe the midterm perspective, that $7.5 mark looks like a really foundational entry point. What makes that specific level so crucial for a midterm investment, especially since it's quite a bit lower than where we are now?
Right, it is lower. It's designated as the I-Daisho, the core entry point for a truly longer-term strategic perspective. This strategy isn't just about buying at a certain price. It's really about timing the market after a significant, often lengthy consolidation or even a corrective phase. The ultimate target for this midterm view is ambitious, re-challenging the previous high of $24.98 or potentially even higher. But and this is a really critical, but only after what JinLog terms triapi, okay, resolving a midterm trap.
A trap. What does that mean exactly in this context?
So this trap isn't like a simple price fluctuation. It typically refers to a prolonged period of, let's call it covert institutional accumulation or maybe even distribution, where the larger, smarter players are quietly building or offloading significant positions without causing immediate obvious price spikes or collapses. Its dissolution, the TRP, signifies that this underlying, often opaque activity has finished. It effectively clears the path for the market's true directional move to finally unfold. Think of it like the intense, quiet preparation before a major rocket launch. JinLog's waiting for that prep phase to conclude.
Okay, so it's about waiting for the big players to finish their positioning.
In essence, yes. And this midterm strategy also includes dynamic, active management. It's not just buy and hold. You reduce your weighting. If the closing price breaks below $8.1 twice, that acts as a dynamic stop loss, managing risk even in the midterm, adapting to market conditions. Conversely, you'd re-increase your weighting if it recovers back up to $10.7. That would indicate renewed bullish momentum, confirming the midterm upward bias. It shows a very adaptive, nuanced approach to managing a midterm investment rather than just, holding on regardless of what the market's telling you.
So these price points, they definitely aren't just arbitrary numbers on a chart. JinLog uses this very specific chart language to describe what's happening, almost gives a personality to the price action. You mentioned the Harian short-term line, swing line, and Draga midterm line. How do these lines representing different time frames actually interact with the current price? What signals do they offer someone using VPR?
Right, these lines are essentially JinLog's highly refined proprietary custom indicators. You could think of them as dynamically calculated moving averages, maybe, but much more sophisticated. Each one is meticulously calibrated to filter out market noise and highlight momentum across these distinct time frames: short, swing, midterm. The current price, 12.27, is always viewed in precise relation to these indicators. So the CHB, the short-term line, for instance. Right now it's indicating, LDTGA. That means a merging or consolidation of the immediate trend, followed by a reattempt to move upward, specifically within its identified range of $11 to $12.5. This suggests the short-term momentum isn't just recovering, it's actively building energy for another push higher, having absorbed the recent selling pressure.
Building energy for another push. Okay, what about the swing line?
The DJ, the swing line, well, after reconfirming that crucial $10 support we talked about, it implies a significant strengthening of that foundational support. This indicates that a sustained swing higher is becoming increasingly probable from that level, because the market has repeatedly affirmed its bottom within this swing time frame.
And the midterm line, the A.
The A. This one has its core value range anchored way down in the $7.5 to $8.2 band. And that strongly aligns with that crucial midterm entry point, the AJ we discussed earlier, reinforces its significance as a potential long-term accumulation zone. So understanding how the current price is positioned relative to these different lines helps us visualize the current state of momentum for each time frame, and crucially, where potential resistance points might lie. JinLog observes specific, well-defined resistance levels based on this: $13.8 to $14.2 for the short term, then $16.8 to $17.3 for the swing time frame, and a much broader zone, $23.8 to $25 for the midterm.
And these aren't just random numbers either.
Not at all. They're meticulously identified zones based on historical price action or the confluence of various technical indicators within the VPR system. They suggest significant selling pressure is likely to emerge there. So when the price approaches these levels, a VPR trader would anticipate either, a pause in the upward move, maybe a clear pullback, or they know that an absolute surge in buying volume is needed to push through them. It's like having a clear roadmap of potential obstacles and targets. gives you precise expectations.
Okay, that's the lines. But beyond just static lines, you mentioned this incredibly dynamic concept of rhythm and supply and demand. This sounds like where VPR really distinguishes itself. Analyzing the flow and energy of the market, not just static points. How does JinLog break this down? Not just generally, but for each specific time frame.
This is exactly where the rhythm concept truly comes alive. And yeah, it differentiates VPAR from more static forms of technical analysis. It's a dynamic, almost intuitive assessment of how energy is building or dissipating in the market, like feeling the market's heartbeat, you know? So for the short term, JinLog identifies a joie. That means the immediate trend is consolidating or establishing itself with a clear direction. At the same time, the ano a joie indicates that upward momentum is either steadily progressing or holding strong. The underlying energy is flowing positively. And critically, supply-demand spread maintain implies that buying pressure is either consistently increasing or being maintained and is overpowering the selling pressure. All these factors combined, they contribute to a joie, essentially accumulating the energy needed to confidently re-challenge and potentially break through the top of that current $10, $13 box. It signals a very focused, immediate bullish intent backed by clear underlying market dynamics.
Okay, so short term is about gathering energy for the breakout. What about swing?
For the swing time frame, the picture gets a bit more nuanced, more complex maybe. While it also shows dujag, the rhythm here is described as grag, a downward rhythm that is actively transitioning, showing signs of ending its corrective phase and preparing for a reversal. Now, this aligns perfectly with that swing entry strategy we talked about, waiting for a reconfirmation of the downside, like a final dip or shakeout before an accelerated rebound.
So it's not expecting a straight shot up.
Not necessarily for the swing entry trigger, no. It's about anticipating a potential capitulation or a final retest of support first. This is indicated by just supply-demand developing forming, where new buying interest starts to emerge and expand after that test. The overall swing rhythm for this time frame points to cello res grace, observing and anticipating an accelerated rebound after a definitive downside reconfirmation. It's about letting the market fully prove its bottom within the swing time frame before fully committing. Shows JinLog's patient discipline, really.
Patience is key. And the midterm rhythm.
And then for the midterm, again, we see a yunyo, suggesting long-term trend consolidation. However, the gojo is also a downward rhythm in the process of a very significant transition. But here's the key difference. The gijo is described as ojo, suggesting underlying foundational buying interest that is either spreading broadly or being consistently maintained, quietly preparing for a much larger, sustained move, perhaps. The absolute crucial condition here for the rhythm to fully shift is onjo yondo, meaning a potential transition to full rhythm development, a sustained upward trend only upon confirmed settlement. That confirmation is vital. It suggests that until the midterm rhythm fully resolves its downward transition and firmly settles at a higher base, that significant upward development won't fully kick in. It's a patient, conditional outlook, very characteristic of JinLog's long-term vision, waiting for the market structure to solidify with undeniable conviction.
We've really delved deep into the technical language of JinLog's VPAR method now, seen how he meticulously deciphers the market's pulse through these lines, rhythms, specific key points. But, you know, as we always say, a strong technical setup needs a robust foundation, solid fundamentals. So let's pivot now. What does JinLog's report tell us about the actual business behind SoundHound AI? Its current financial health. Because ultimately, for any sustained long-term move, the fundamentals simply have to support the technicals, right?
They absolutely do. And frankly, what sets JinLog's reports apart is precisely that holistic view. They don't ignore that crucial financial bedrock. So on the positive side, SOUN is indeed seeing impressive, really impressive, triple-digit revenue growth year over year. For a company in a high-growth sector like AI, this kind of growth is a strong signal, indicates strong market adoption, demand for their innovative tech, plus they're building up a significant backlog of subscriptions and orders. That's an excellent forward-looking indicator, signifies strong future revenue potential, sustained demand. That backlog isn't just a number, it represents committed future business.
Solid growth, solid backlog. What else?
And importantly, they have a solid cash position. That provides a critical financial safety net, supports ongoing operations, R&D, strategic investments, without immediate pressure to find external financing.
Okay, sounds good so far. But there's usually a however, isn't there? What are the concerns?
There are definitely concerns JinLog rigorously highlights. They are still GAAP negative. meaning they're reporting losses even when you consider non-cash items like depreciation, amortization. Now look, this is common for many high-growth tech companies. They prioritize market share innovation over immediate profitability, but for investors, the critical question becomes, what's their burn rate? How much cash do they actually have left? How long can they sustain these losses before potentially needing to raise more funding, which, could dilute existing shares?
Right. The path to profitability question.
Exactly. And the most crucial question, as JinLog emphasizes, is how quickly that large backlog actually translates into recognized revenue. This transformation speed from backlog promise to realized revenue reality, along with consistent improvement in their gross margin, the profit they make from each sale before operating expenses that will be absolutely vital for their midterm financial health, and their ultimate path to sustainable profitability. The report also highlights their strategic moves, diversifying demand across automotive, restaurant, and enterprise sectors. That's a very smart play. Reduces reliance on any single vertical, taps into broader market opportunities for voice AI, adds resilience to the revenue streams.
That deeper dive into the financials really helps put the growth into context. Okay, now, no stock exists in a vacuum, right? What are the major external factors? The news developments, potential pitfalls, upcoming events that JinLog specifically points out could significantly impact SoundHound AI's trajectory. It's not just about what's happening inside the company, but the broader environment it operates in.
Indeed. And the news flow around SoundHound AI is actually quite positive, quite active, particularly in terms of real-world applications and strategic partnerships that really validate their technology. JinLog details significant developments in the restaurant AI sector, for instance. New partnerships with global QSR quick-service restaurant solution providers for advanced drive-thru automation. And international channel expansion. This means their tech is actively being deployed in tangible, high-volume environments worldwide. Shows scalability, real-world utility.
Drive thrust, okay? What about cars?
Automotive AI, yeah, they're making strong inroads there too. Rolling out their voice assistants to North American and European OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, putting their tech directly into new vehicles. They're also doing exciting pilot programs for in-car voice commerce, enabling everyday stuff like paying for parking, coffee, food, just using voice commands. Shows a clear, promising path to monetization within the vehicle itself. And beyond these consumer-facing areas, in enterprise and healthcare, they're securing renewals, upsells for financial institutions, and steadily expanding their client base in healthcare. Demonstrates broader market adoption beyond just a few core areas.
So lots of positive application news, but risks. You mentioned risks earlier.
Always balanced, yes. JinLog's report outlines risks too. It mentions major shareholder exit issues were processed in the first half of the year, H1. This usually refers to large institutional investors or maybe early backers selling off significant chunks of their holdings. Now, while that's often just part of a natural investment cycle, such large sales can create an overhang of supply in the market. Consistent selling pressure that might cap the stock's upward momentum even when other news is good. JinLog notes these may have been largely digested, meaning the market absorbed a good portion of this selling, but it's still a factor to be mindful of.
Okay, overhang risk. What else?
Crucially, if the broader AI sector or just the general macroeconomic environment experiences high volatility or a significant downturn, SOU could easily retest that $10 level or even the $7.5 box bottom we discussed. External market turbulence can sometimes overwhelm even positive company-specific news. Underscores the importance of broader market context. As for key momentum variables to watch, JinLog points to the confirmation of that midterm settlement in September-October as a critical trigger. That would signify stabilization at a higher base, paving the way for larger moves. Also, the precise timing of any new major contract or licensing announcements would be a significant catalyst. These directly impact their revenue backlog, future growth prospects, provide tangible proof of their expanding market footprint.
It's clear JinLog's method is incredibly detailed. It goes way beyond just identifying price targets. It's not just about hitting a number. It's about the conditions under which those numbers become valid. He provides these incredibly specific conditions for each strategy, short, swing, midterm, almost like a checklist. And these aren't just suggestions, right? They seem like explicit requirements to actually validate the trade. Can you walk us through what these mean for each scenario? Because this feels like where the precision of VPR really shines.
Absolutely. This is exactly where JinLog's VPAR method stands out. In its precision, its robust risk management, and its emphasis on finding those high probability setups. So take the short-term buy strategy again. You're not just buying at 10.76 because the price touched it. No, you need to see that price point reconfirmed by the short-term line's lower band. And crucially, it must be accompanied by a clear candle reversal pattern. a specific candlestick that definitively indicates that shift from bearish to bullish momentum, and this must occur with a volume rebound, meaning increased trading activity confirming significant buying interest is flowing in. Beyond those immediate price action signals, there are broader conditions required. Critical filters. JinLog specifies TRAP23 money, meaning at least two-thirds of a price trap or consolidation period must be resolved. Remember that trap, the covert institutional action. TRAPA signifies that's completed, clearing the path. You also need to higher the rhythm expanding upwards, meaning the underlying market energy is unequivocally confirming the short-term upward momentum.
And finally, generate confirmation that the broader AI sector is also moving positively, in sync. If the sector isn't supportive, even a good individual stock signal might just fizzle out.
Okay, multiple layers of confirmation needed for short term. What about swing?
For the swing strategy, the entry around $10.0 plus or minus 0.3 is also contingent on TRP Botter 23, indicating a cleared path for a larger move. But the rhythm condition is different, and it's crucial. A clear signal that the downward rhythm is ending and starting to return to an upward trajectory. This suggests that disciplined patience again, waiting for a definitive confirmation of a low before committing significant capital. And again, you need to raise the broadening of supply and demand, indicating increasing market participation that unequivocally supports the projected upward move.
And midterm. The conditions must be even stricter there.
They are, yes, reflecting the longer time frame. For the midterm strategy, the core entry at 7.5 the Karshe, or additional fractional buying at $8.89.2. This is subject to the most significant overarching condition. Dan, that's the midterm rhythm transitioning from a merger or consolidation phase into a full development phase. This is the big picture shift, a sign that the long-term trend is truly ready to unfold. Accompanying this, JinLog emphasizes Jankakasha visible, tangible conversion of their significant order backlog into actual recognized revenue. This fundamental validation is absolutely crucial for a sustained midterm uptrend. Technical strength must eventually be backed by business performance. These conditions, they aren't just guidelines. They are the stringent filters through which JinLog validates a trade, ensuring multiple technical and fundamental factors align perfectly, thereby significantly improving the probability of success and managing risk with exceptional effectiveness. It's a very disciplined, multi-layered approach, prioritizes high-conviction trades.
That's an incredibly robust system for decision-making. Wow. Okay, this report also brings in another, maybe even deeper layer of technical analysis. Elliot wave theory. Now, for those unfamiliar, it's a pretty profound way of looking at crowd psychology reflected in repeating wave patterns. Suggests markets move in these predictable kind of fractal patterns. 5 waves up, 3 waves down, generally speaking. How does JinLog, a master of market insight, apply this complex theory to SoundHound AI, breaking it down for each time frame to give us like a structural narrative?
Right, Elliot wave analysis offers this powerful structural perspective, allows for a deeper understanding of the market's underlying psychological cycles and its probable path forward. So for the short term, JinLog sees SO currently in core 3 key show. Wave 3 is actively in progress. Now, in Elliot wave theory, wave 3 is typically the strongest, most impulsive wave in the sequence, characterized by powerful trending moves, often accompanied by increasing volume as, the public starts participating more. Its immediate target from this perspective is to re-challenge that box cop we keep mentioning. The reliability, the conviction in this wave 3 progression significantly increases, according to JinLog, if 2 key conditions are met simultaneously. Trap 23 beats, 2/3 of that underlying price trap resolved, and Ryaki rhythm divergence. That indicates the underlying market energy is truly expanding, accelerating, unequivocally supporting this upward move. That combination strengthens the wave 3 thesis, confirms the market's aligned for the push.
Okay, wave 3 pushing for the box top. What about the swing time frame in Elliot wave terms?
For the swing time frame, JinLog interprets the current situation as Chafor Yasho Yaisho, meaning wave 4, which is typically a corrective wave following an impulsive wave 3, is ending its adjustment phase. And there's a strong possibility of wave 5 beginning. Wave 5 is the final leg of the impulsive move up, often marking the end of the current trend sequence. However, this interpretation is contingent on a crucial confirmation. We need to see a higher low established and confirmed right around that $10 axis. This means the price should find solid support above the previous swing low, around that $10 mark, confirming that the wave 4 correction has indeed finished and the market's preparing for another decisive upward push. Without that higher low confirmation, the wave 4 correction might not actually be complete, and that wave 5 potential remains unvalidated.
Need that higher low confirmation. Got it. And midterm. the really big picture from an Elliott wave perspective.
And for the midterm, JinLog describes AU as being in Goting, Dokdangyu. It's currently in a wave 2 consolidation or formation phase. Wave 2 is also a corrective wave, but it's critically followed by wave 3. And in Elliott wave theory, wave 3 is often the most powerful, the most extended, and usually the most profitable wave in the entire sequence. This means Iggy is potentially in a significant accumulation period right now, setting the stage for a potentially explosive wave 3 push later on. The crucial theo is the trigger for this midterm wave 3 surge. It's a 9-10 month settlement confirmation we keep talking about. This aligns perfectly with the midterm strategy and the financial outlook discussed earlier, reinforces how fundamental and technical factors are converging to signal a significant potential move for CO down the road. It gives a structural, almost prophetic narrative to the complex interplay of rhythm and price action, provides a grand roadmap for that long-term potential.
It's always fascinating to see how the broader community, with all its different perspectives, reacts to these market movements. What's the chatter like around SoundHound AI from different groups? Are the retail folks, the developers, other traders, are they all seeing the same thing? Or are there starkly divergent views that could maybe influence volatility?
Yeah, this section of JinLog's report gives us an invaluable pulse on the prevailing market sentiment, reveals how different segments of the community are interpreting SOUN's situation, and often their underlying biases too. It's really interesting to note the distinct focus areas. So the developer and broader investment community, they're actively engaged in really granular discussions, talking about proof of concept, POC reviews for the restaurant and automotive AI solutions. They're delving into the practical real-world performance, comparing the actual response quality of SOUN's AI versus competitors, analyzing implementation successes, discussing long-term tech roadmaps. Their focus is squarely on the underlying technology, its effectiveness, its market adoption. Speaks directly to the fundamental health and innovation of the company. Their optimism seems rooted in product validation.
Okay, so the tech folks are focused on the tech. Makes sense. What about the traders?
The Tuic Asia. The more active, shorter-term trading community, they are much more divided. With views that directly reflect the technical analysis and potential outcomes we've been discussing, one significant chunk of this community believes 10-2 to go, Jogi 17 Otane. If the $10 support holds firm, then Otane will inevitably test the $17 resistance. This aligns directly with JinLog's swing target, reflects a bullish interpretation of the current consolidation, seeing it as accumulation. On the other hand, another influential segment predicts 7.5 Asia, suggesting that if broader macroeconomic conditions cause a significant market downturn or increase risk aversion, Otane could revisit that $7.5 midterm, the key point. This view is significantly more cautious, emphasizes external systemic risks, the possibility of a deeper pullback.
Wow, quite a split there, 17 or 7.5.
Exactly. This stark division isn't just an observation. It reflects the real battle happening in the market right now. Often signals heightened volatility is possible. For you, the listener, understanding these deeply divergent views helps you appreciate the market's inherent uncertainty and the critical importance of having a clear, disciplined, objective strategy like VPAR to cut through this conflicting noise and make your own informed, unemotional decisions. It's a powerful illustration of why relying on a structured method is so key.
That's a crucial insight that divergence really underscores the need for a disciplined approach. Okay, so wrapping this all up now, how does JinLog, with his profound market insight, actually summarize the current state of SoundHound AI? What are the absolute main things to keep an eye on moving forward? It sounds like there's a consistent, overarching message tying all these intricate technical and fundamental points together.
The summary is remarkably clear, actually, very concise and powerful. It truly reiterates the core message that's woven through our entire deep dive today. He says,
Holland dedokno, ten fine 7 fine 5. Holland lo discayo, otranjamo, rojanse ojefu. Which means, definitively, the foundational support levels for SO, particularly at $10 and $7.5, are becoming more robust, consistently confirmed. This indicates deep-seated buying interest, strong underlying demand at these prices, creating a solid base. Simultaneously, JinLog emphasizes that catalysts, those pivotal positive news developments or fundamental shifts that could significantly drive the stock price higher, are perceptibly approaching the horizon. This suggests SOUN is entering a period of potential significant directional movement.
solid base, catalysts approaching. Sounds optimistic, but knowing JinLog, there's probably a but. Always disciplined. True to his approach, the report is very rigorous in highlighting that despite this positive outlook, despite approaching catalysts, certain ongoing risks remain key areas of concern.
These include those persistent gap losses, which, yes, common for growth companies investing heavily, but they need to show a clear path to improvement over time for long-term sustainability. The speed at which their impressive backlog actually translates into recognized revenue, that's another crucial watch point, directly impacts their tangible financial performance, cash flow generation. And finally, general macroeconomic volatility. It remains a constant, ever-present threat. A broad market downturn or increased risk aversion could negatively impact even fundamentally strong and technically sound companies like SOUN.
Okay, so potential upside, but keep those risks front and center. What about that roadmap you mentioned, if the settlement happens?
Right. If that crucial 9-10-month midterm settlement, that fundamental confirmation of a higher base is indeed confirmed, JinLog lays out a precise and conditional 3-stage roadmap for SOUN's potential ascent. First, a decisive breakthrough from the current $10-13 box range. That would signify a powerful move beyond consolidation, a strong bullish signal. Second, a significant expansion of the swing rhythm, indicating a broader, more sustained upward move within the swing time frame, building momentum. And finally, a full conversion to a midterm uptrend, suggesting the longer-term market rhythm has shifted decisively upwards, affirming a major long-term bullish bias. It's a precise conditional outlook. Brilliantly combines technical momentum with fundamental validation, offers a really comprehensive and compelling view for the VPAR trader.
That brings us towards the end of this really deep dive. But as always, we want to leave you, our listeners, with something to ponder, something to spark your own curiosity and further exploration, maybe far beyond the immediate market movements. What are the next layers of analysis that JinLog kind of hints at? Things that could truly deepen our understanding of SoundHound AI's long-term potential and its challenges. Sounds like areas for some intense future research.
Yeah, the full report definitely touches on even deeper layers of analysis. Almost lays out a future research agenda, goes well beyond the immediate trading signals and current outlook. For instance, JinLog poses these crucial strategic questions about how different ARPU, average revenue per user, and gross margin models might play out for SOUN's distinct business channels, specifically restaurants and automotive. This isn't just about current numbers. It involves simulating various future scenarios to really understand how profitability might evolve and scale in each segment.
So modeling out future profitability by channel.
Exactly. Then there's the absolutely critical question of backlog recognition speed. What are the various scenarios, both optimistic and maybe conservative, for how their vast order backlog will actually translate into recognized revenue and, critically, into tangible cash flow? This impacts not just top-line growth, but the company's ability to generate self-sustaining cash, reduce its reliance on external funding.
Cash flow is king, right?
Always. And then there's the expansive question of the total addressable market, the TAM, for in-car voice commerce.
Yeah.
How large is this market truly in the long run? And crucially, how does that line up with how the car manufacturers, the OEMs, actually monetize these features within their own business models? It's about understanding the synergy, or maybe the lack thereof, between SOUN's potential and the existing industry structures.
How do they actually make money together?
Precisely. Finally, JinLog provocatively encourages exploring the risk-reward matrices under different conditions. What do these look like comprehensively if that box range upper limit is successfully broken, leading to a significant sustained rally? Or what if it unexpectedly fails to break through, potentially leading to a retest of lower support levels? These are the kinds of profound questions that truly push our understanding further, aren't they? And for you, the listener, as you reflect on this deep dive, consider, what if the box range fails to break out against expectations? Or if it succeeds in a big way? How would that shift your own risk-reward assessment for SoundHound AI? Or maybe just for how you approach assessing the true potential of any high-growth company in a dynamic sector? It's about building a robust framework for anticipating and understanding all potential outcomes.
A huge thank you for joining us on this incredibly insightful deep dive into SoundHound AI, all through the precise and fascinating lens of JinLog's VPAR rhythm analysis. We truly hope this has given you not just, a wealth of facts and figures, but maybe a powerful new way to think about how to approach complex market information, how to identify those crucial key points, and how to understand the nuanced underlying rhythms that drive price action.
And remember, knowledge is really most valuable when it's deeply understood and then intelligently applied. Consider what stands out most to you from today's discussion, and truly reflect on how you might apply this comprehensive framework, this ability to identify key support, understand underlying rhythms, combine technical precision with fundamental analysis to other areas of interest in your own financial journey. Whether it's another stock, an industry trend, or even a different type of complex system, the principles are, I think, universally powerful.
Absolutely. And as JinLog's report wisely reminds us, this VPI rhythm analysis is a unique and powerful approach, a sophisticated tool to guide your understanding and decision-making. But of course, all investment decisions ultimately rest with the individual investor. Always remember to do your own thorough research and due diligence. Thanks for diving deep with us.